Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. I am really excited about our guest this morning. Before I bring him in, I want to share with all of you, if you haven't already, to jump on over to the Ascended Masters store, where I and a bunch of my friends are teaching over there. We have webinars and programs, and every time I pop in, I see someone else I've known for years, and I'm making all kinds of new friends over there as well. And I'm in the middle right now of creating a new webinar that I'm calling Cure Your Money Diseases. It's all about what I call the 7 diseases that are affecting your prosperity growth. So I'm going to put that link in the comments below. And if you're really looking for help with prosperity, check out my 6D Money Tree program. I'm actually not very good at promoting myself, but apparently I need to, because I'm here to be of service in that way. And I also have some books and gifts for you over on my website at victoriareynolds.com. I have a free book over there called Rise Up. It's all about what's happening in the world right now. It's about the Great Awakening, the ascension, and spiritual revolution that we are presently facing in this incredibly momentous and exciting time on the planet for those of us who recognize it for what it is. So I'm going to bring in my guest now, Andrew Genovese. I saw a video he put out a couple of weeks ago about how the arm poke is affecting our 12 strands of DNA. And many of us who are aware of what the 12 strands of DNA are recognized immediately who he is as he's an angelic presence on the planet. And so I reached out to him because I recognized him and I wanted to share him with all of you. So I'm going to bring him in now, and let's see what comes through for both of us in this conversation as we talk about the new earth that is coming and we're helping to intercreate. Good morning, Andrew. So nice to meet you.
Grand Rising, Victoria. So happy to be here with you today.
I love your name, by the way. I named my son Andrew.
It's just the name of the masters.
It is. So tell me about you. You heard how I discovered you. Your video a couple of weeks ago went viral in the Awake and Aware community. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I had no idea.
It was being shared all over Telegram, being shared all over Facebook.
Wow. I've had people email me, especially when I did the video about miscarriages. That video landed on like so many different websites. And that video got shared, like really went viral when I was talking about what the effect the injection was having on miscarriages and whatnot. And yeah, it's just like simple videos like that has brought so many amazing souls into my life to assist each other in this journey and plug each other information and say, hey, I have a fellow brother who you really need to connect with. And yeah, I'm just doing everything I can with the knowledge that feels resonant to me to really speak fully, truthfully, and authentically with whatever wants to move through. Obviously, with also being aware with how much we're being censored, on the main platforms like Facebook, Instagram. It's tough being able to do that authentically without being censored. So I've definitely had to navigate that over these, past 21 months. But when it all started, I was just like, wow, I have to speak up on all the things that I know. Like there's just I just knew I had to. And it's gotten me to this now moment and connected to so many incredible souls who are nothing more than they want love and sovereignty and freedom and liberation of humanity. So it's extraordinary.
Yeah. And so many of us, I know in my case, it was probably about that same time, the beginning of 2020, when I got the very strong urge to start the show. It was, okay, everybody who has the ability to start a show needs to start a show, and we need to start having these conversations. So we do navigate around certain subjects to keep, but I really haven't had an issue with it because I try to approach everything from a more spiritual perspective.
Right.
And so when we do, there doesn't seem to be as many of those issues that other channels tend to get plagued with.
Totally. Yeah, I try to really play I dip into the 3D world to drop some truth bombs, if you will. And then, but I always try to integrate it back into the fact that, yes, we can know all this heavy information and some of the really dark agendas of what's occurring, but also continuing to really feel and stay into our bodies and carry the deep knowing of that really our main reason here is actually becoming more conscious and evolving into this new way of being, living, existing that awaits us. So it's so important not to get like stuck in the heaviness, the corruption, but really focus on what we're creating. That's what I feel the star seeds are here to do, is literally to put our intention into literally love and focus on what the new systems are going to look like as the old just, crumbles to bits.
Right. Well, and it really can't, it's not sustainable. That darkness is not sustainable in our light. And we know that. So as I've been preaching to the audience, so to speak, and I don't like preaching, but it's one thing to be aware of what's happening in the world, and it's coming to the surface so that we can transmute it. And a lot of people get in it and they get stuck in it, and then they dwell in the story rather than saying, oh, I see that it's here, so that we can recognize it, so that we can put an end to it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we have to become, awareness is everything, right? We have to become aware of really how much humanity has been manipulated, lied to, and how everything that we once thought was truth or normal really isn't normal at all, because it's constantly putting us in a nervous, anxious, angry like state, because our natural way of being is being one with Mother Gaia, connected to nature, connected to our food, living in community, right? Literally being in communication with the mycelial network and the trees and the plants, not seeing us as above the animals, but as literally one with them, and that we actually need them and they play a vital role in truly everything being cyclical and working in harmony. And so those are all just one of the many things that we're really regaining as we, become more conscious, just beyond our mind's comprehension, how unbelievably, extraordinarily interconnected we are with everything on this planet and in 200 billion galaxies throughout the universe and the multiverse.
And that's what's amazing, is that I started to have this understanding a few years ago that everything that happens on our planet affects the entire galaxy and affects the entire universe. And human beings can't even begin to grasp, a lot of them I don't think can even grasp how they affect the neighbor across the street, let alone the neighboring galaxy.
It's a big concept, right? It's a total breaking out of so much programming, literally starting at childbirth, from when our head was grabbed with forceps. We were not touched and loved and held by our mother or father. The father was maybe like looking at the birth from like a far distance in the hospital, right? Like this literally started from when we enter and exit the womb and enter Earth and take our first breath. The soul enters the body. It starts there of the programming, and how we look at someone as I like to say this to people, the word stranger, looking at someone on the street and saying, oh, I don't want to go to that group place or that workshop because there's going to be a bunch of strangers. That is a program. Everyone is our brothers and sisters, and we're all meant to view each other with love and compassion, even if we don't agree, or even if they're here to maybe balance out the other side of polarity and playing a role in the darkness, right? Seeing someone who is homeless as separate, or are you better than, which is just not true, because it's very likely, as a very ancient soul, we have been homeless in a lifetime and been begging on the street. So this concept of that, God, when we're literally judging or in a state of a rage over something, or right, that us being in a higher vibratory state of love literally transcends throughout the universe and affects other planets. It's just like, for some people, they can't even begin to like actually feel into how big it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really extraordinary when we start to grasp that. I think one of the things people, on a very basic level, people are just now beginning to understand, as we're talking about the animals, our intercreation with the animals, that one of the greatest misperceptions has been that dominion and domination mean the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a really deep program that the animals are separate from us, and that we are higher than them in some way, because we ourselves have entered these vessels. We have entered animal bodies. The star seeds, obviously, this is just temporary, a flesh bag, right? We're just entering this body in this lifetime, and we've entered so many different forms, and on the Pleiades or Arcturus or Sirius or the Andromedan galaxy, or as a blue avian or wherever, right? Like and that's the essence of who we are, right? We are multidimensional. So without a doubt, we've been a cat or a dog or a lion or whatever it may be. And I've never had this argued by one fellow brother or sister when I say this. I was around a really powerful group of creators just 2 weeks ago, and a couple of the brothers they had, like steaks on their plate. And I was kind of just poking fun at them, but not like in a serious way, not in a judgmental way, just giving them a hard time. And I said we started talking about eating meat and eating plant-based, and how millions of people over the last decade, tens of millions or hundreds of millions have only eat plant-based or vegan or whatever. And how I explain it. And then I never get an argument. People always say, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. Eating meat is an old program of the old earth, because at that time, humans did survive because they were eating meat. That is absolute truth. But that was a time where we were at a lower consciousness and a lower vibration, and we were in a state of survival. In the golden age, we won't be in a state of survival. The mass abundance unlocked in the living library, the consciousness of Mother Earth, is going to be revealed to us and unlocked out of us and within us. So as, talking about the 12 DNA strands, as our light body becomes activated, as every cell in our body literally starts vibrating on a higher frequency, the spiritual abilities come online of full telepathy, telekinesis, remote viewing, astral travel, psychic abilities, all of it. And we become fully multidimensional and supernatural, and who we truly are in our essence. The vibration of needing to take another life, like to kill a deer and then gut it and all these things, that's part of this old consciousness. We don't need to take from the earth anymore, because the deer, the boar, the bear, they are an integral part of us, because there is a soul inside that deer. Right. So it is an old programming, and I feel so deeply within my being that there will not, in 30 years from now, there will not be a single human on this planet eating animals, because the frequencies will be a complete and total mismatch. We just, like I explained before, we don't need to do that anymore. And that's not to say that you should judge yourself if you are today. It's okay. It's fine. If that's what you feel like you need right now, today, in this moment, it's okay. But moving forward, as our body crystallizes and we become fully multidimensional, the DNA strands, spiritual abilities come online, eating animals will be a thing of the past.
I completely agree. Yeah, I actually have a very difficult time digesting meat at this point.
Yeah. It's a frequency that doesn't match with our soul anymore as we continue to evolve, because we don't see ourselves as higher or more evolved or whatever than the animals. We see them as literally just one.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of the children, within about the last 10, 15 years, they will actually tell. My daughter was about 6 years old when she decided she wanted to be a vegetarian. She says, "Mom, right. I can't eat meat." Well, if I wouldn't eat my cat, why would I eat a chicken? And so
they're coming from a young kid, right?
A lot of children are saying that. They're like, I don't want to eat that because it's an animal, and I love my animal friends. I don't want to eat my animal friends. And so I think you're right. I think that as this now younger generation that's moving in, they won't even have an interest in that when it doesn't resonate, because they're coming in already at a higher vibration. Because the third dimension, as we know, is beginning to collapse. They won't even have that programming. And I was telling someone a couple of days ago, I said, I can see in about 20 or 30 years where we'll look back and say, wow, can you believe people actually used to hurt each other? What a crazy thing. Wow, people actually used to hurt each other, and they used to actually think that was okay to kill animals. Like, how strange human beings used to be.
Yeah. I mean, we will absolutely be sitting around the fire in conscious communities all over the globe in these little hubs, and we'll literally be like taken back and flabbergasted in the fact that we literally used to go out and take the lives of these souls that are literally an integral part of us. They are us. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there will literally just be an old story, an old way of living. And we'll look at it and be like, wow, that was a pretty dark time. That was a pretty low state of consciousness. And the mass abundance that people have a hard time understanding, just the abundance that has been kept away from us, and that we have to be in this perpetual state of looking for more money and needing to pay rent and bills and being in constant state of stress. And the truth is it's just like, we think that that's normal, but it's so far from normal. We're not meant to be living like that. We're not meant to be taking from the earth. We're not meant to be dredging the planet for oil and all these things, right? It's all an old program of things that happen, but are not acceptable and not living in harmony with Mother Gaia.
Yeah, and I refer to it as a fear-based reality. So we've been living in this fear-based reality for thousands of years. Yeah. And what became really apparent to me a few days ago is that old programming kept humanity in a continual state of fight or flight.
Yeah, absolutely. If you keep, right, with all that's happening on the planet right now, right, since 2020, March 2020, you don't have a pandemic if you don't have fear.
Right.
It doesn't exist. You cannot control the empowered and the spiritually aware. It won't happen. We are unmind controllable. It is not possible, because under no circumstance will I give up my body sovereignty, and under no circumstance will I succumb to fear or pressure, because I have angelic beings all around me right now as these words come out of my mouth, and I'm being guided every single step of the way. And I trust that, and I surrender to that. And so, right, there comes that higher knowing of, obviously, whatever word resonates with you, a God, a source, a ether, a cosmos, a universe that is so much bigger than you, that, yeah, we do live in this beautiful game, cosmic simulation, and that we're always being guided to our highest evolution and being shown everything we need to be shown. And even if we are going through things that are really challenging, which many people are right now, it's not actually happening to us. The truth is it's happening for us.
Right. And that's the difficult part, because the automatic impulse is fear. Oh, and it's actually fight, flight, or freeze. I forgot that was the third one. So sometimes we freeze and we become immobile. It's the overwhelm is the third response, but they're all fear-based. And that's part of the old construct. And it's interesting that you talk about fear as the virus. I was saying, 2 years ago, when the present situation we're working through was that fear was the actual virus.
Absolutely.
And that fear was actually used to continually to propagate this story that we've been told. And if we can just stay out of fear and recognize that it's a fear-based narrative, and go, oh, I actually don't have anything to fear. I started saying a couple of years ago, I'm opting out of that particular narrative. I'm not afraid of getting sick. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I choose to not participate.
It's kind of funny when we put it like that, right? Like, I'm just gonna opt out of that. I mean, that could literally, like, quite literally that simple. I'm going to turn off the TV forever, never watch the news or anything that has anything to do with the mainstream media again. And then all of a sudden, whoa, there's all of a sudden a total different reality. Everyone around me is not dying. Huh. Right. And obviously when you're in these states of lower frequencies of fear, anger, separation, disillusion, gosh, when I walk outside on the street in front of my house and I walk my dog, 8 out of 10 people walk to the other side of the street so they don't have to walk past me.
Isn't that fascinating? Or they walk down the middle of the street, which I find even more interesting. Yeah. I don't know if they do in your neighborhood, but they walk on the driver's side of cars.
I just want to sit in front of them and look them right in the eye and say, hey, it's okay. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing scary going on here. Yeah. And one of the biggest reasons that I find, Victoria, of why people don't want to walk by you, one, obviously they're in fear. Two, they don't want to be seen. They don't want to meet eye contact with you and look into their soul because they're afraid of being seen, because there's so much confusion, anger, fear, and just feeling separate from everything around them because, right, they haven't spent any time actually critically thinking, okay, I'm being told this is happening, but what's actually true? What's truth for me? Not what anyone's telling me, what's truth in here? Right. Is this actually dangerous? Because people are so disconnected from their body, which is the vehicle that we elevate and grow and love and learn, right? That's why I love breathwork so much, is because it's bringing people back into here. Because we've been so disconnected to our bodies, right? We're flooding it with Pepsi and Kool-Aid and Burger King and food that we've been told is real and is not real. It comes from a factory. It's made of chemicals. And the body, when it enters the body, your body is literally like, whoa, what is this? It doesn't even recognize it as food because it's not as food. Also a testament to how unbelievably resilient the body is, that someone could literally live to 85 and eat nothing that is real food and barely eat any organic vegetables or fruit. Shows how incredibly powerful the body is at healing. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, right, there's just a total disconnect with their own awareness and consciousness and simply not being empowered, because rather than finding the answers within, which is God consciousness, the truth, the universe, they look to it from other people because they're not empowered and they're not afraid of fear. They're afraid of how the love that could potentially move through them could make a river flow in the opposite direction because they're that powerful.
Right. Well, and we're programmed literally from birth to look outside of ourselves. Yeah. And that we are disconnected, that we're disconnected from, all of our religiosities teach that we're disconnected from source.
Yeah.
And that we have to look to teachers and parents and everyone else as our source. So the idea that we are all connected directly to whatever as you said, whatever your name for source is, source, God, ether, universe, whatever, that we're disconnected from that and from the truth that's inside of every single one of us. So we have our universal truths, but then there's also our own individual truths of what's best for us. And we're not really taught how to go inside and continually discover what's best.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I truly believe that at age 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, learning how to breathe and learning about the breath being literally if there's a spider web, breath is in the center of the spider web in terms of our consciousness and our awareness, because it tunes us into, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm present. My fingers are wiggling. There's an intelligence that I can literally send this signal to my hand, right? It tunes into that you are alive and you're present, you're here, and it's right, and it's happening now, as everything's always happening right now. So for every child to learn that in their school, oh my God, the entire planet would change in an instant if every child was literally learning about meditation and breath work and how to literally identify and become aware of rage, of jealousy, of guilt, of shame for lying to their mom because they did something and they blamed it on their brother or whatever that is.
Right.
Right. This would totally flip the script. And obviously it will, because that's what the starseed children who are coming onto the planet right now will learn in school, as schooling will look nothing like it does today.
Oh, and it's going to change very, very rapidly.
Yes.
It's I call these the gifts of COVID. So COVID was like the catalyst for the new Earth creation. So although if you're looking, so people look at it on one side of the worst thing that's ever happened to the planet. On the flip side, it's, oh my gosh, this is amazing, the amazing gift, because it's forcing us. We've been talking for years about how we need to create new systems. COVID is actually forcing that to happen. And so many people are pulling their kids out of the school system or forcing the school system to change. I don't even think, when I tune in and ask, the word system is literally going to be an old construct as well. We won't have school systems anymore.
Yeah.
And that all of this idea of systems will just start to go by the wayside, because we will choose concepts that work best for us rather than systems. And so my kids it was interesting because the public school my children went to is very forward thinking. I'm in Southern California, and they did learn mindfulness and meditation in the public school, in elementary school. But going through the rest of the system, of course, now my son's a junior in high school and my daughter is in college, they kind of forgot that, even though they were taught that when they were small. And you're reminding me of one time the principal, my son was maybe 6 years old, the principal said, I was having a conversation with your son and he was getting really angry, and I told him to just stop and breathe. And he said, you sound like my mom.
Oh, I love that.
But he learned, because he did have some anger management issues when he was young, he did learn to stop and breathe.
Right. So this is the most amazing video of a like a 3.5-year-old with his like 1.5-year-old brother, and the little boy is crying, and he touches his heart and he goes, "Hey, it's okay. It's okay." And then he goes, "Just breathe." And then the little baby literally just stops crying, and they go. It was so profound. It was so incredibly beautiful. This little 1.5-year-old literally heard him and literally took a breath with his little brother that's only like 3.5, and just stopped crying and literally just totally went to this place of like calm and bliss. I was like, wow, this is the generation that is going to literally be paving the way for this new golden age, as we starseeds who incarnated in the Matrix and really chose some pretty challenging soul contracts in this lifetime. They're not going to know any of that. They're going to live in such a different planet, such a different existence, and just vibrating on such a different consciousness. The kids who are entering on the planet now, they're not going to know anything that we once knew to be normal or true, in like none of it, because like you said, Victoria, things are really just are full throttle right now. They're happening extraordinarily fast, which is why some days I'm literally in the middle of like riding, or I'll be driving, and I'll just feel so much galactic light entering my body. It almost takes my breath away. It's like really overwhelming at times, because it literally just makes me look like, ooh, like it's really profound, because our body's becoming lighter very, very, very quickly. And if we're talking about, for example, 5 years, people say, oh, well, 5 years, things are going to change then? Like, that's a lot of time. No, it really isn't. 5 years in the grand scheme of the universe is literally the time that I literally just batted my eyes. Absolutely like no time at all, nothing. And as we move to 0 point consciousness, time is literally just falling away and becoming an illusion, because we won't be in that go. Oh my God, I have to make the meeting at 6 o'clock. And then there's another meeting after that at 8 o'clock. I have to wake up at 5 to do my first session. And then there won't be this like dire rush to constantly be doing things and getting places. What that looks like exactly, I don't know until we're fully in it, but I know it's going to be dramatically different and more slow paced and more of that feminine energy of feeling and being and feeling, intuition, clairvoyance. Whether you're in a male body or a female body, it's going to be so much more of the feminine energy of just like this softness and just being an observer and a witness to everything that you see around you and everything that you feel inside you. It's going to be just so different and so much more amazing and beautiful.
Well, time is interesting because I tuned in and asked about that a couple of days ago. And what I was shown is that time, the concept of time, particularly clocks, were invented as a control mechanism.
Right.
And that there will come a time. I mean, I don't think that we'll get rid of the concept of time entirely, because it does help us. For example, you and I both know that we had an appointment at 11 o'clock to be here.
Right. Sure.
But it's this idea of time is money and money is time, and don't squander it and don't waste it and all of that. Again, that's part of that old fear-based narrative of what time is, and that we know that when we're just sitting on the beach or sitting in the forest or sitting and having a great conversation, that time slows down, and just being in the presence of nature and being in the presence of each other. I think we're going to be experiencing more of that. And so, we may still have watches to remind us of what time it is if we need to be someplace, but this rushing, the angst that comes with the concept of time, I think will disappear.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was also shown about 5 years ago or so that we'll move out of the Gregorian calendar and into the star calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll use dates and times will actually look different.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know what that is or what that even looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently our Gregorian calendar is going by the wayside at some point, that's pretty exciting, because that also is, well, it took us out of the divine feminine of the 13 months and put us in a 12-month cycle.
Right.
So there is that, the resurrection and restoration of the divine feminine, as you were saying, which is much more flowing and much more of the natural rhythms.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's why we've all been so disconnected, right? You have toxic masculinity, right? And then you have the feminine of so many women wanting to compete with one another, this fierce competition of there can only be one CEO, there can only be one boss lady in the organization, constantly comparing, wanting to be more beautiful, more seen, more, God, do I wear makeup? Am I wearing too much makeup? Am I too fat? Am I too skinny? Am I wearing high heels? Do I not wear high heels, right? There's so much deep programming, right, which has also affected the masculine, because the masculine's like, okay, what the hell is my role? What is a new earth man? What is a new earth masculine? What are we here to do? What does that even look like? What does divine union look like, with so many of us being born by parents? God, probably 40 or 50% of people I know, maybe 60, their parents were divorced, and separated, because just very tumultuous, lots of yelling and screaming, or alcoholism, or, or drug addiction in the house, right? A lot of us went through so much of that. So we're slowly but rapidly piecing that together of what it really means to be in a beautiful partnership, and the feminine show up for the masculine, the masculine show up for the feminine. And so we're writing the calendar, time, what we're meant to be doing, what a human being is on this planet. I mean, God, I when I feel into it sometimes, when I'm just going about my day, I just shake my head and I just say, wow, just wow. It's really unbelievable on what an extraordinary gift it is to be here during this time. And we'll be saying that for years and years to come, because we're really actually like just getting started.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've been saying actually pretty much this year, we're at the end of the end and the beginning of the beginning. And
Right.
that, I know that sounds really strange for people who don't really get what that means. But if we compare what's happening to the collective of humanity right now as being in a chrysalis, that's what happens, right? We're at the end of the breakdown and the beginning of the recreation. And that's that what humanity will be when we emerge from this transition phase is going to be spectacular. And how amazing it is that we get to be a part of creating that.
Yeah. We get to literally mold and shape everything.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's so beautiful that I've found, Victoria, that I've really been feeling into these last like 3 weeks. We're coming from a time where I say, that person has a podcast. Well, my podcast or my show needs to be better than that person's. I need to make sure I have the highest rankings. I need to work harder than that person. I need to put in more hours. I need the highest salary. I need to beat out that person. That's like a total old way of living and programming. We are now seeing the light codes and the consciousness that each star seed and each torch holder, way shower, light worker, light warrior brings to this earth, and the consciousness that they have inside their DNA, inside their body, that they are bringing to Mother Gaia, whether that's knowledge about plant medicine or knowledge about getting connected to their sacred womb, or whether that's bringing forward and integrating spirituality and law, whatever that is. We have been chosen and selected from all over the universe and multiverse to volunteer on one of the most important planets in the multiverse, and which is Mother Gaia. And we literally are co-collaborating and co-creating, and not visualizing seeing each other as competition, but really just as one. And that we are literally on the same team. We're not on different teams. We're on the same team to bring in this new era. And while there's very, very, very powerful souls incarnated on the planet this time, well, we aren't separate. We're literally fighting for sovereignty, for love, for liberty. And the truth is it seems as if these powers still have maintained a lot of control. They don't. They really don't. And it's over. That the time of the dark ages is over. Now we just have to go through some turbulence and some bumps, and maybe some big hills, but everything that's going to unfold, depending on how we perceive it, really is amazing. It's epic. It's beautiful. And we're entering the time of purification right now, which means everything is going to be leaving old souls that don't match the vibration of Earth, businesses, corporations, many ways of doing things that simply just don't match the frequency of the golden age, because in some form they are taking from the earth. They're extracting energy from the earth and from this new way of being. So everything's got to crumble, collapse, and be rebirthed, which is, you could say, right, we are entering the cocoon right now, so to speak. And out on the other side is a butterfly that is so otherworldly gorgeous and stunning. You just can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's interesting because I visualize it as you say that. I'm seeing a butterfly that's gold and opalescent, which is there isn't one on the planet right now, but that's what I'm seeing is this. It's sparkly and opalescent and golden, and it's almost beyond the comprehension of the human mind how beautiful what we're creating is going to be. And and that we get to create it. We get to intercreate it. And, you were talking about the competition and all of that. And so when I do this show, I don't have a humongous audience, but I always set the intention that the people who need to see it will see it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm here. I'm committed to being here. I have incredible conversations with incredible human beings. And I'm always in so much gratitude that I get to be able to do this for humanity. And it's not for humanity, it's for all life on earth. I always clarify that it's not what's best for mankind. It's not even what's best for humankind. It's what's best for all life on earth. And as you were saying about competition, I'm like, that is so old world.
Yeah.
It isn't even in my periphery. The whole idea of competition to me is just absurd.
Yeah.
Now, but that wasn't the case 10 years ago when I was scraping by and trying to get ahead. And even in the coaching industry, it's all I was laugh. It's like the coaches who coach coaches to coach other coaches. The constant competition that's going on there. And a couple of years ago, I said, I'm just so done with that. Like, when I told the stream of consciousness I work with, okay, then I'm just going to sit here and wait. And when it's time, show me what my path is, because I'm done with that path. And what we're creating now is amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone I know is saying the same thing. Oh, competition. That doesn't even exist. How can we all work together? How can we pool our resources? How can we pool our wisdom so that we create a win-win-win? And that this idea of win-lose ceases to exist.
Yeah. It's just been it's been so amazing, the rate that so many people have come into my field who, when I met them, I knew obviously that I recognize a soul. I know you from the cosmos. And we've done this before. And it's like, I was like, wow, there's no getting to know each other because I already know them, not the body, the soul. Mm-hmm. And that I'm not seeing all these powerful beings that have incarnated all in different locations geographically on the globe for a reason, right? Because our light is needed in Germany, in Croatia, in South Africa, in Australia, in Canada, in Argentina, in Spain, right? We are placed strategically to illuminate our consciousness and our codes within us to go throughout the core of Earth and throughout the oceans and the waters and the trees and the forests. And with that, right, once again, all those codes are, we are affecting every planet in 200 billion galaxies, as this shift of consciousness is not just affecting Mother Gaia, it is affecting the entire universe. So every planet in the universe and the multiverses are literally going through shifts right now. Like it's so hard to even grasp. So literally right now, for anyone who's watching this, as these words come out of my mouth in this present now, there are billions of galactic beings broadcasting this conversation in their starships and on their planet, viewing on what we are saying, because what's happening here on Earth is that big.
Wow, boy, put some pressure on me. I'm not putting pressure on me, but really seeing the importance of the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting that out. Yeah.
Huge.
Thank you. And for every one of us that are broadcasting, that explains why so many people got the same message 2 years ago that they needed to start broadcasting. And what I started hearing a couple of years ago is that we need to start broadcasting so much that we are what people see when they turn on the TV and when they turn on the computer. And all that old fear-based narrative will actually be difficult to find because we are so present.
Right. That's exactly it, Victoria. We are the news. This is the news right here. This is real information about what's actually truth and present. And and that this is beautiful, that this is not fearful or dangerous or any of that. That is such a manipulative lie, which is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What's true is that what we're doing is extraordinary, and that none of this is a coincidence, right? It's all happened divine. 2020 was an opportunity for us to grow. We were gifted this opportunity. Okay, we're going to give them, this is going to manifest on planet Earth. What are the humans going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing an extraordinary job of turning it not into a blasphemy or this is awful or poor me. No, this is a gift that we get to be pushed to our ends to really see what we're made of and analyze, God, did that job serve me? Did that partnership serve me? Am I ready to let that go? Where am I being guided next? And really just getting clear and asking and constantly being open to receiving guidance to whatever that looks like for each one of us, with every day, with each moment, with every week. Because each one of us are being guided as the cosmic team of light who are volunteered here to be in disguise. I like to say we are simply in disguise in these human avatars, but we are ancient souls that have come here to raise the vibration of Mother Gaia. And as these codes continue to come in, I mean, God, I can't even tell you what this planet will look like, and not even long from now, literally even just like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Never mind 10 years. And then you go to, if I was to show you like a 1 minute clip video of what this planet looks like in 3 decades from now, you would literally fall on the floor sobbing, because you wouldn't even be able to it would be so overwhelming, the joy and the love, the unconditional love that is surging through this planet in decades from now. It's truly like nothing we know. Like, it's so otherworldly. No rape, no trafficking, no murdering, no gang violence, none of it. None of it. Literally just openness and kindness and compassion and community and love. It's going to be so unbelievable, truly.
Yeah, I think the only word that describes that, and I've been saying for years, is it's the return to the garden. You call it the Garden of Gaia. And so a lot of the religiosities talk about this Garden of Eden that humanity once lived in. It's that.
Yeah.
Returning to her garden, where all there is love and peace and prosperity and freedom. That's it. There isn't anything other than that. And this idea of doing anything that you should do, or that all of this crime, if you will, is out of a desperation for people's needs not being met.
Yeah.
I would say desperate times call for desperate measures, kind of thing. And so whenever there's a recession, you see the crime rates increase, and all of it is based in fear. And if every human being's needs are met, then suddenly the desire to do harm disappears.
Right. If you create a fake system like the Federal Reserve did with the money, this money is literally monopoly money. It's not real. It's fake. It's totally fake. It only has value because we, the people, say it has value. That's like some people will know that, and some people it's, to say that to someone that's not awake, they go, whoa, what are you talking about? That's they get super frazzled because you're telling them that the money in their bank account isn't real, and that so why are they working? What are they working for? So it makes them question. So it can be very triggering for people who spirits aren't awakened and souls aren't awakened to hear that kind of information.
Right.
Because these things are just made up. They've literally been created to enslave humanity and create lack, right? Because the truth is abundance is all around us. We've just been put in this tiny box to make us think that We need to, right, in order to drive a car, we need to go to the DMV. We need to tell this person. We need to be constantly tracked with a social security number and a birth certificate, which locks us to be an entity owned by this. I mean, it goes so deep. It goes so deep. And we're just beginning to uncover that where each of it leads to. And it's pretty mind blowing as I'm learning every day. I'm learning new information of stuff that's coming out, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty profound. I had no idea, it just,
And it's thousands of years old. That's what's
yeah.
interesting. So people say, well, the last 2 decades, okay, well, that's just scratching the surface of it. You got to go back thousands of years to find out how deep it actually is. And so for me, a big part of the aha, and I think this helps people start to grasp it, is how all of our financial system is a debt-based system. Before even going down to the depths of what that looks like and what our taxes are actually used to they actually aren't used for human services. Very, very little of our taxes are used for human services.
Nope.
It's all for managing the monopoly money.
Yeah.
And that all those systems are going to start collapsing because people are starting to recognize, oh, wait a minute, taxes are actually illegal.
Yeah, they're fraud. Nobody has to pay taxes. Nobody.
But you'll go to prison if you don't. So it's a false system. And all those systems will start to collapse once people start to recognize that this entire fear-based reality is false. It's not even real. That's the hardest part, I think, for people to grasp, because the only thing that's real is love and abundance and prosperity and compassion. That's what's real. Everything that's not that is a false narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. It's simply a story that we've been told. And because we were indoctrinated in the matrix, we were, okay, yeah, this is just how it is. That's what I used to hear all the time when I was in high school, Victoria, in college. My friends had jobs, and I would say, God, look, this was before I was truly awake, but there was something in me that recognized that this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 21 years old, 22 years old, and I'm looking at my friends who are studying nonstop and they're working full-time jobs, and they hate their jobs, and they're coming back to the house going, God, I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. I'm like, we're not meant to be living like this. Mm-hmm. We're not meant to be anxious and in a state of like lack and trying to educate ourselves. Meanwhile, getting in debt, tens of thousands of dollars or even hundreds of thousands. And on top of that, being constantly exhausted and working, right? And all these things are all really just a lie. And yeah, the dark forces that were, I like to say the dark forces that were, because it's in the past.
I call them that too. Isn't that great?
Because it's over, right? Our conscious language is so important to plant that seed that it's over. It's our time now. It's the starseed's time to hold the torch and bring in this new earth. That all those are just falsehoods. And that, if you're listening to this and you are going through a really heavy, challenging time, and money is a struggle, know that in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't even matter. You're going to be guided. Mm-hmm. You just have to trust. You will be brought to the next best thing for your highest evolution when you can get to that state of just full letting go and just trusting. Because things are unraveling fast, and none of us are alone. None of us are alone in this journey. The ego likes to tell us that we're alone, but we have so many cosmic galactic beings, angelic souls in the higher realms guiding us, and so many brothers and sisters that are not strangers, that are our brothers and sisters that are on the same journey as us right now.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing is that number is growing exponentially. 12 years ago, we were saying 144,000. It's 144,000 light workers. And now I'm telling people there are hundreds of millions of us now. It is not a small number.
Yeah.
And that tipping point will turn into billions very soon. And I mean, very soon, I don't know. You know, my when I tune in and ask, my guidance never gives me dates because and this is what I explain to people, how fast we create this new earth is determined by our own resonance.
Yes.
So the more we stay stuck in the fear, and the more we stay stuck in watching the news, and the more we stay stuck in rehashing the dark stories, not to, acknowledge that they do exist, but it's one thing to keep our energy stuck in that, the longer we actually postpone this reality we seek to create.
100%. That's what I literally said to, one of my roles here is really uniting the spiritual realms and the freedom fighters, if you will. And so I'm kind of that bridge of planting seeds that we are these spiritual beings, and that our breath is everything, and that we're infinite. We have infinite potential to heal in this vessel because we are infinite potential, right? Because we are literally made of God. We are made of ether, of source. That's what this body is. It's the most intricate, beautiful, intelligent piece of technology in the multiverse, this body.
Yeah.
I mean, one cell of our body has more intelligence than we could even try to understand with our rational mind. It is so unbelievably intelligent. So we have to, the real work is literally raising the resonance, the frequency of Mother Gaia, and that's held within us. Mm-hmm. And then, right, as below, so above, right? It's in and then without.
Right.
So as we continue to elevate, it's just elevating throughout everything, mycelial network, the waters, the plants, the trees, and the universe and the multiverse, because like we talked about in the conversation, this planet is so special and it is affecting every planet. And there is no planet like Earth that has the variety of DNA like this planet has. Nowhere in the multiverse. One thing that my guru's mother shared with me when I was on my 3-month voyage in South India in Tamil Nadu was that yes, there are 144,000 angelic souls and a couple more that have incarnated during this time, but there are hundreds of millions of star seeds. So yes, there's 144,000, but there's still many other star seeds who are also powerful and hold different codes and consciousness. But and she said there was roughly about 250 million star seeds incarnated during this time. And we are, the power of us having love running through us is about 10,000 of those souls that are living every day in hate and running around trying to rob people and looking to get over on people in any chance they get. We are about 10,000 of those people because that's how powerful love is. Love is the all-encompassing force throughout the universe. That's what we're all here for throughout the universe and the multiverse, is literally love.
Yeah, I call it love having a human experience.
Yeah. So I love that. It's a great way to put it.
So, it's interesting. I've been talking about us as the other 1%, in that it only because love resonates at so much higher frequency than fear. As you were saying, only in the vibration of unconditional love, one person resonates at the frequency of 10,000 people in the vibration of fear. It really only needs 1% of us on the planet to resonate at that vibration, right, to shift the entire planet, because that's how powerful the vibration of love is. And so people get caught up in, oh, there's only a few of us. It's like, well, there really only needs to be a few of us.
I mean, definitely, there are far more people who are not seeing through the illusions right now. Definitely. And I guess that's where it comes in, where we can feel alone, and that's okay, right? We just have to become aware that we're creating that story that we are alone, but we're not actually alone.
Yeah, we're not. So one of the things that I was seeing when you were talking is that we are the new World Wide Web, and I was seeing like this. Well, it's like a spider web, but it's like these threads of light all over the planet, and that the higher we raise our resonance, the there is so much more light existing on the planet that at some point the darkness can't even exist.
Yeah.
And that the rest of humanity will wake up, because you can't stay asleep when there's that much light flooding in.
Right.
You can only leave the sleep mask on for so long before you just get woke up.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just have to literally just be.
We're just being, and we're having these conversations. This conversation itself is transmuting all across the planet.
Yeah.
It's not hard work. We're just here having a beautiful, loving conversation.
Yes. Yes, totally. And our lives are about to get so much more, oh my gosh, so much more calm, easy, free, liberated, right? We're like we talked about before, we are entering the cocoon, we're entering the tunnel, and we just have to continue to really just elevate our consciousness. That's really it. We don't have to make it super complex. It doesn't need to be. Mm-hmm. We're really just here to literally become more loving and more kind and more compassionate. And while sure, of course, we can drop into maybe judging someone who's, acting in a certain way, or walking in a yoga studio doing their whole practice with a mask on. Sure, we can drop into judgment over that, but awareness of that,
right,
and then letting it go is
right.
key.
Because it is hard not to. It's like, yeah, every once in a while see some of that silliness, and
yeah, you're just like, come on, really? Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, hey, we are actually out of time, which is amazing, because I'm one of those bridges too. And I know that I'm here to bridge the spiritual community and the patriotic community. And I recognize that in you. And there are a lot of us that are here to be that bridge. And once the two communities become unified, as I've been saying for the last couple of years, we will be a force to reckon with.
Yeah.
And that's why we've intentionally been kind of, they want to keep us separated. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I've got to keep us separated. Right? That once we unify, the entire planet is going to change.
Yeah.
And that is happening more. I'm starting to see more and more of the spiritual community wake up to what the patriot community has been saying, and more of the patriot community recognizing how their religions were used to control them, and then a higher vibration of spirituality is waking up within them. And it's really beautiful to witness. Yeah. And it's coming together in this unified field.
It's such a gift to serve humanity and to serve our brothers and sisters, and just simply be a shining beacon of light to walk others back home. And we're all doing that. We're all walking each other back home to the essence of who we truly are, right. Because we came here and to totally forget. And now we're here to remember the essence of who we truly are, which is just divine love and liberation and free and and sovereign, and all these beautiful things that are being unlocked within us right now as we speak.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, we've been having such an amazing conversation. I didn't ever get around to asking you how you, what was your awakening experience? Were you always aware of this? Did you have a catalyst moment, or what I call a holy shift? What is it that took you in the direction of breath work? I don't know very many people who do breath work.
Yeah.
So I would love, before we say goodbye, and it's just very goodbye, because I have a feeling that you and I are going to be doing a lot of work together in the future. You have an event coming up that I wanted to participate in being one of the speakers, but they were already full.
Right.
But I'd love to learn. I'd love for the audience to know a little bit more about you, and then how you discovered that you were a starseed, and a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, I lived in Australia for a year in 2012 and 13. And when I came back from that trip, my soul, my spirit hadn't awakened yet, but I was starting to really be aware of like, wow, we really are slaves and modern day slaves in the United States, and like how much people are exhausted and anxious. And I started becoming subtly aware of how corrupt the medical systems were. And there was just really like subtle drops that I was picking up on. So that started in like 2013, 14, 15. I started just like slowly learning a little bit more about nutrition and things like that. But my holy shift where I truly awakened was about 4 years ago when I had a business in Central America, in Nicaragua. And our business was doing super well. I was the owner of a backpackers hostel, was out there surfing every day, partying, having just a great time, having friends from all over the world who I've met. And I've been to over 40 countries and spent 4 years out of the US, and I've been to a lot of places and met a lot of backpackers, thousands. And we basically had our business open for 6 months, and we had to close it pretty much after being open for 6 months because of all the government corruption in Nicaragua. So that led me to leaving the hostel. I had a really profound LSD experience in Guatemala, and that was like a huge catalyst to feeling more connected to the universe and Mother Gaia. And the Mayans, where I was in Guatemala, was like, oh my God. It was really like the moment that I started realizing how beautiful things I can't really even put into words in that journey, how powerful it was. But my whole world was coming down. I'd lost my business. I had no money. I literally left the hostel with like a tiny bag, and like that's it, with like a couple pairs of shorts and like 6 t-shirts. So in that journey, Spirit told me to go to New York City. So I traveled up from Nicaragua to Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico City, and then I flew from Mexico City to New York. And it was in New York where where everything literally fell apart. And I started losing motor function in both of my hands and arms. Felt very, very hopeless for a couple of weeks there. And then I dropped out of the victimhood. And I said, okay, I just have to I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know why my arms aren't working. I can't work. Like I have no money. I'm living with my aunt and uncle. It was just, I go from being a business owner to having like just everything collapsing around me. And it was in that time that I found breath work, and I started just consciously breathing every day. And no one actually told me, hey, you should try breath work. It's really powerful. I just started sitting on the edge of my bed every day, and I just started placing my hand on my heart, closing my eyes, and I just started. And I started doing that, 10, 15 minutes a day. And I started noticing that I was able to decipher which was the ego in me and which was truth. Mm-hmm. And after about 4 months, I started healing myself and started experimenting with fasting and all plant-based diet. And it was, it was the breath that took me back to my body, back to here, and back to who I truly am. And this remembrance was all the breath.
Wonderful. And so now, is that something that you teach other people?
Yeah, primarily, I will definitely be doing more courses in the future, but primarily now I just hold space for people and hold lots of ceremonies, breathwork ceremonies via Zoom, in person, and just get to witness magic every single time. It's just extraordinary what I get to bear witness to and how powerful these journeys can be. It's groundbreaking. It's unbelievable. It can shift everything for people who do one ceremony, or, people who've done 5 workshops for me. They're like, just from the 5 workshops I've done with you, like I don't even recognize myself anymore because of how much I've released and transmuted and evolved just from being with you 5 times. It's pretty unbelievable, and yes, I hold a powerful container, but they're showing themselves how powerful they are, which is what is truly a gift and amazing.
Wow. So what's the best way for people to reach you? And I know, because I'm going to put your banner up.
Yeah, people can reach me at andrewgenoveshealing.com. Also on my Telegram, Andrew Genovese Healing, and then also Instagram, which is Breathe, Heal, Evolve. I feel, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I definitely feel that the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagram have a pretty limited time, maybe another couple months. I don't know. So I've moved all my work over to Conscious Vitality. So yeah, you can find me at Conscious Vitality, which is going to be like the new Instagram, Facebook. David Otokawa Wolf, Sasha Stone, Brandon Bozarth, Aaron Abke, some of the most amazing, Laura Eisenhower, some of the most amazing women, men and women on the planet are moving over there. And there's going to be our own new Earth currency called Zadkiel Coin, who's an archangel. So that's going to be huge. That's where you can find most of my work over the years, is over at Conscious Vitality.
Oh, that's great to know, because I've been saying for a while that I'm going to be pulling off Facebook, because Facebook is a dying concept.
Yes, absolutely. It's dying. I will connect you with the team.
Dude, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But I've been looking for a new social media home, and I will be moving everybody off of the other platforms and someplace more conscious, for sure.
Yeah. Love it. It's time. It's really time for us to it's like we're like kind of just like sitting in this area that's like we're like ready to vacate, but we're not vacating. That's kind of what it's like in the Facebooks and the Instagrams. Like it's really time to like be on our own and not be using these anymore. That's what I feel.
And there's a couple of really very conscious social media apps too. There's an app called Divine Ray that's taking the place of TikTok.
Right.
Basically like conscious TikTok.
Right.
And so we'll start to see a lot more of those showing up as well. And really beautiful cooperative places.
Yes. Yeah. It's very exciting. Many, many, many partners in one company, because it's all about mass abundance. That's what it's all about. Circulating the abundance through all awakening souls.
Absolutely. And it's a concept that has never really been done before. Yes. But those of us who know how powerful cooperation is, it is the new way of business.
100%. Yeah. Mass abundance for all. There's no need for lack for anywhere or anyone in the world.
It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Well, wow, this has been such that hour just flew by.
Yeah, it was quick.
What they say, time flies when you're having fun, or in our case, time flies when we're in this amazing heart space.
Feel that. Yes. This is a gift. Well, Victoria, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom and your light and who you know yourself to be, and the incredible love. I feel the love that is radiating from your heart.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So much expansion, literally just in the last, even like 14 days, so much expansion and release. Just like, there are just no words to be alive right now. There are no words. It's just incredible.
Yeah. I do that every morning. I sit in the gratitude and say, "Oh, I am so grateful. I get to be here right now."
Yeah.
And I know so many other people who want to check out. They're like, I'm done with this place. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm just getting started.
Yeah. We are just getting started. That is right. Only the beginning of all the epic work we have to give to Mother Gaia and the universe.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for being the love that you are and for being the light that you are in the world.
Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you. Looking forward to more beauty unfolding, working alongside together as leaders for the new earth.
Yeah. Me too. And for all of you that are watching, thank you for being here and for sending your love and your light out into the world, and for your loving presence and for the light that you are. As I always say, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Together, we are creating a new world of peace, freedom, prosperity for all life on earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.